Right, we're in the home of this fine lady here, who has kindly agreed to have a chat with us. It's your story, so do you want to introduce yourself and
Well, I'm Bridget Barry. I was originally British Regan from Galton, Summerhill.
Oh,
yeah, I was born the 26th of the 1st, 1922.
1922.
22.
Right,
Yeah.
That was a very turmoil time.
Yes, it was. It
right.
was with the wars and everything.
Yeah.
But I lived a good, very good, quiet life. My mother and father were very quiet people.
Sure.
My father was a herd in Major Fox in Galton.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and we had a good, quiet life. I went to school in Kiltale.
Of course.
Kiltale, and left about when I was 14, the usually thing them years. And I worked in Dublin when I was about 16 or 17. I went to Dublin,
Right.
worked in Dublin, in housework.
Right.
Housework, yeah.
For a private family, was it?
Pardon?
For a private
yeah,
family?
that's right, for a
Okay.
private family.
Okay.
Yeah. I worked in Dr. Paul Murray's in Western Road.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, he was a great rugby player.
Oh,
Yeah, and a lovely man he was.
right.
I worked there for 2 or 3 years.
And they had family, I'm
And
sure.
they had family, they had 4 family, 2 boys and 2 girls,
Oh.
you know. And then I worked in Castle Park School out in Dalkey.
All right. And in the first place, you lived in the house?
Yeah, we
Okay.
lived in.
And
that
did
was
you-
the way those years.
Of course.
Lived in.
And did you get to, how often would you get to go home? Or
Yeah, we get to go home now nearly always at Christmas and
so
the summer.
okay.
Yeah.
But you actually stayed up there
Yeah,
continuously?
Stayed up there, that's
through the
right.
weekends and
That's
everything?
right, that's right, yeah. We used to get out, of course, like on our days off.
Yeah.
We had our days off and that. And I used to do the phone there, and he was the doctor and he used to attend dentists.
Right.
We said the anaesthetic, he used to give anaesthetic to dentists. And he used to do the phone there and the door. Private patients used to come,
Right.
you know, yeah. It was a lovely.
Right.
They were very nice people. And then I worked in Castle Park School out in Dalkey.
Right.
It was a private
Of course,
school.
from Western Road, it was a short
Yeah.
walk down to the city centre.
That's right.
So
it was very convenient.
out in Dalkey would be a...
It was a bit far
Yeah.
away.
Was the
It
train-
quite near Dunleary.
The
like.
train was
That's
there
right,
in
from
that
Western
time.
Road.
You could get but from Dalkey you could
Oh.
get the train in as well, could
That's
you?
right,
Yeah.
that's right. And it was but not far from Dunleary. It was a lovely park.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
lovely park. And there were nice people too. It was a doctor that ran the private school. He was the Dr. Pringle.
Right.
I think he was a native of Kilmessan, really. I think
Really?
his father came from Kilmessan.
Right. So,
Yeah,
Right. So
I
he,
think so.
he knew your background, he
Yeah,
knew your
that's
home.
right, that's
home.
right,
Yeah.
he did, he did. And then I got married in 1950.
Just going back to your original family, you had siblings, I'm sure you had.
Pardon?
You had brothers and
Oh, I
sisters.
had.
Okay.
I had 4 brothers and 5 sisters.
Right.
Yeah, big family.
And what?
They're all dead,
Oh,
dead,
right.
yeah.
And what part of the family were you? Were you?
I was the second youngest.
Oh.
Yeah, second youngest.
And did the rest of the family, did they move abroad?
Yes, they did. Went to England.
Right.
Some went to England and Dublin and different parts.
Right.
You know,
But you kept in touch?
we always kept in touch.
Oh.
We were very united family,
Oh.
very united, like,
Right.
you know.
So there'd be a reunion or whatever?
That's right, yeah,
Occasionally.
that's right.
Okay.
I often say it, and the difference in people today, they're not as united as I think.
Sure.
I imagine that, now maybe I'm wrong, but I thought long ago people were more united, like.
Of course.
Yeah, I think so now,
Sure.
you know.
And did your parents live a long life, or they?
No, my father died at 68,
Right.
and my mother was 72.
But in those times, that was a, you know,
Yes, it
people
was.
live longer now, obviously.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah,
That's right.
maybe not then.
Yeah, they didn't live that long ago, like, you know.
Yeah.
They died younger.
Right.
Yeah, they did. They did. But I always thought, like, People were happier, I think, in those days. Nobody had very much, like, with nothing, but like, everybody was the same kind of,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And I think people were happier.
Sure.
Now, maybe I only think that, Aidan, but
Well, perhaps they didn't expect as much from,
no, that's right.
from things.
Yeah, that's right. People was happy with very little, like, you
Yeah,
know.
sure.
And then everybody was the same kind of.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, they were.
So you enjoyed your time in Dublin anyway,
I
in
did.
the two
I
different...
did. I was
Okay.
very happy in it.
And how long were you in Dalkey?
I was in Dalkey, I suppose, when I would have been 2 years, I think.
Right.
Yeah. It was very nice too. It was a private school,
Okay.
a boys' school. They
Oh.
came from all parts of Ireland.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you're in what way were you helping there?
Well, actually, I was in the private side of the house there.
I see, okay.
Like, there was a family there, and I was on that side.
Okay.
Not on the school side, more or less on the family side.
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
And were they a big family? Were there...
There were just two in the family, a boy and girl.
Ah, right,
Yeah,
okay.
boy and girl,
Right.
Pringles.
Right.
I think his father came from Gilmessan, he was Dr. Pringle, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was an enjoyable time,
It
and
was.
you had a good experience with both families
Yes,
this day.
yes, I
Okay.
had.
Okay.
I had, yeah, very nice people.
And you got married reasonably
But
young,
married
did
in 1950,
Okay.
yeah.
And
I was married in Kiltale.
all right. And sorry, were you still working at that time, or you just finished?
Yes, I was working up until I was married.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. 1950.
1950.
Right. In Kiltale.
Yeah, in Kiltale.
And tell us how you came to meet your husband.
Well, he was from Manalfred.
Ah,
And it was my sister's house he used to be in, like, you know what I mean, only lived down the road. And he used to be up in town, that's how I met him, you know.
so you've not...
He's 40 years dead, imagine Aidan.
I'm sorry?
He's 40 years dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
scary.
75.
It's scary,
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a very heavy smoker,
Oh,
and he got cancer of the lung.
odd.
Yeah.
But you ignored all the boys you met in Dublin and settled for a Meath
Yeah,
man.
I did. Yeah.
I'm sure
I
you...
was very gentleman, like, you know,
Oh,
very
indeed he
good
was.
man. Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
He was.
I'm sure you socialised though when you were in Dublin, when
Oh,
you
I
were
did.
as a young
yeah.
girl.
Oh, yes. So we went to dances, AOH, and the teachers' hall. It was all Killian old time.
Oh, where was that now? What
In the
part?
Parnell Square.
On Parnell Square.
Yeah. Yeah, that was lovely. We used to go there a few nights a week, you know.
Yeah.
And very pleasant. You'd meet all the people from the country. And
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Dublin was made up
Dublin
of
was
country
different.
people
Oh, yeah.
at that time.
Oh, Dublin was a lovely place that I made.
Yeah.
Oh, you could walk from Parnell Square to Western Road. Nobody would ever mind you.
Okay.
You know, the difference now, like, times have changed, haven't they?
Oh, certainly, of course, that
Yeah.
hugely
Oh,
changed.
yeah,
Yeah.
they have.
Yeah.
Oh, they have.
And your first year in Dublin, sorry, did you tell me what date that was when you went first?
It would have been, I think, when would it have been? I was only about 16 or 17 at the time.
So it was in the early 40s.
Yeah, it would have been the 40s.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
40s. I was in Dublin when the war broke out in 45.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. I remember the bombs, if the bomb dropped, a couple of bombs dropped in Dublin.
Indeed.
Yeah, there was.
Indeed.
There was.
And was there a lot of upset and excitement about
Yeah, there was.
Okay.
Oh, there was. Oh, there was. A lot of fear, really, you know,
Yes.
because, like, there wasn't that, you know, people thought it was the Germans made some mistake and dropped the bombs, you know, like, that they kind of mixed up where they were.
Yeah.
That's what people thought, like.
Sure. But
You know.
nevertheless, a lot of people were
Yeah,
killed.
there were.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were.
And-
a lot
and-
of young families and all killed. Yeah. It was very sad. Yeah, very sad. Yeah.
And during that period, there was rationing. It was
Yeah, there
it was difficult.
Yeah, we had ration books, like, for different clothes and everything, like. But it didn't last that long, Aidan, I think. I don't think it did.
Well, for the duration of the war, I
Just
suppose, was it?
to
Yeah.
waste it all, like, you know. Yeah.
But I'm sure you made many friends there as well.
I did.
Okay.
Oh, I did. Well, like, there was a couple staff at Dr. Murray's. There was a girl or two girls from Tipperary area, you know, from different counties. And the same out in Castlebar. They came from Carlow and all the different counties, yes. I met many friends, like, I still have one or two.
Of course.
Yes,
of course.
I walked with. Yeah.
And were there any other girls working in the houses that you worked in?
There was. There was.
Okay.
Yeah, to be maybe 2 or 3. In Dr. Murray's now there was a nurse for the children, and there was the cook, like, and that.
Yes.
I did the phone and the door and that, like, there was just 3 of us, like.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there were lovely people them years, like, very nice and good. Very good at that half, like,
Sure.
you know.
When you got married then, where did you live first of all?
Well, we lived first in town below. You don't remember Tom Fields' old garage, you wouldn't.
Well, I know where it was.
You know where it was?
Yeah.
Well, Shaw's had a house opposite there, and
So on the other side
on
of
the other side.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
you know where O'Neill's live now?
Yeah, but sorry.
You know where O'Neill's, the chap, I can't think of his first name.
Somewhere there.
That's where Shaw's had a house, at the Northish house there.
Okay.
And we were there then from 50 until 57, and we moved up here. We got
And did Tom Fields live there as well, in one of those houses, on the same
No,
side?
he had a garage.
Okay.
Because they lived up in on the Moy Road.
Right.
That's where he lived.
Okay.
But he had the garage there, like, and Paddy Bakeland, Lord rest them all. Paddy was with him as well, Paddy Bakeland.
Right.
Yeah. Because they had cars for hire now there.
Yes, okay.
You know, people had no cars with them here. But they had cars for hire.
Right.
Taxis.
And that's what Paddy...
Paddy Bakeland and Tom Fields.
Sure.
Yeah. And then, of course, he built the garage up above Edward Day.
And who on that road, who else we say, on Shane O'Neill's side then, there were 2 houses there, were there? Two cottages?
Was there 2 cottages there?
No.
Oh yes, right enough, I could think, I could get mixed up at times. There was Judy Martin, you often heard of Judy
I did
Martin.
indeed.
Yeah.
So tell me a little about her.
Well, she lived in the house next to us.
Right.
And she owned a shop at one time down in the village.
Yes.
And the husband and herself, a nice shop there, sweet shop and all that kind. Just for the garage, where the guard
Barracks
is now.
Yes.
Just there. Lord, your father, Lord, rest him. He'd tell you some stories, Aidan, for Judy Martin. Like, he knew them longer than I knew them, you know. But as she was a harmless woman she lived then, like, her husband had died, you know, and we minded her then when she got sick.
Do you know anything about her husband?
No, I didn't know.
I know she was married again, but
yes,
her first husband.
I didn't know.
Okay.
Somebody said, Aidan, that he was German.
He was indeed German.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I wouldn't have known him.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I didn't know her second husband either.
Right.
Yeah, he was dead when I came to Summerhill.
Right. And
yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
So they may not have been married that long.
No, they mightn't have been. No.
Right.
No.
Did you actually knew her and?
Oh, I did. You were Welsh. We minded her when she got sick.
She was a character, wasn't
yes, she was a character. And there was a Dr. O'Reilly. She's dead now too, Lord rest her. And she got sick one time. She was very bad. And the doctor wanted her to go to hospital, but she wouldn't go. The ambulance came out for an evening, she wouldn't go.
Right.
She said, I'm not leaving here, I die here, which she did.
Right.
Which she did, yeah. But she was a harmless woman too, like, you know what I mean? A character, kind of.
For a little while she lived there beside where you lived, where Shane O'Neill is now.
That's right.
Okay. And then the house, there was another thatched cottage just where the barracks is, and she moved there, is that?
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah. But she died, like, she wasn't that old, I think, when she died, like.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Right.
She was really able, like, to get around. She used to walk up and down the street there,
Right.
like, and that, you know.
It was Amelia then she married.
Yeah, that's right. No, I never knew him, Aidan.
Okay.
No, I never knew him. He was dead, like, when I came to Summerhill.
Right.
You know.
And then on the opposite side of the road
The
from you.
opposite side of the road, there was Jack Talon.
Okay.
Jack Talon.
And that's near towards Stangan, is it? The house near Stangan?
The houses was old houses there opposite now, but Shane O'Neill lives.
Yeah.
There was old houses there.
Yes.
And Jack Talon and his sister, I think they had a shop there at one time.
Okay.
Yeah. And then there was Mrs. Farley,
Right.
just at Dent House. Do you know May Western at all?
I do.
Yeah.
Not well, but I do, yes.
Yeah. Well, Hormel, they lived at the very end in the old house.
Right.
Yeah. And then there was a postman. There was a postman lived in one of the houses too. I forget his name now. Patson. I forget his name now. He was a postman.
No bother,
Yeah, he lived along there too.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a few old houses along there.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you said that Shaws actually owned the house that you were in, is that right?
Yeah, they did.
Okay.
They did.
And they also owned...
And then we got this house out of it, and it was,
Right.
you know.
And when was this house built?
When we came here in 57,
Right. 56.
oh, I'd say it was, I tell you who lived in it before we came, Kyo's, Bill Kyo. Did you ever know the Kyo's?
Well, I heard of them.
Oh, you heard
yeah,
of them, you sure you wouldn't. I do forget it, don't mind.
No, no,
It was
fine.
like, yeah, Bill Kyo and Mrs. lived here.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did. And then the house was empty and we got it like after that, you know.
Okay. Right.
You know.
And
It seems so long ago.
Connors were here.
Connors was in the next house, yes.
house, okay.
Yeah. Did you know any of the Connors, Aidan?
I would, as a child, I would remember Jack, but
You'd remember
I don't
Jack.
have a memory of any of the children.
No, you wouldn't.
But I remember Jack.
Yeah, you did, you
I did.
remember Jack.
Yeah.
He died in 79.
Was it? Is that,
Yeah,
that
79.
recent? Okay.
Yeah. He was very fond of reading.
Was he? Yes.
Phyllis Cook was an old dress Phyllis too. She used to keep him books and that.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Aidan, has there an awful lot of people died in summer here, like?
Sure.
Yeah, hasn't there?
Sure.
Yeah, there has.
You've lived a long life though,
Yeah.
and you remember more than most
Yeah.
people do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
And the Connors, that was a big family. There were
Oh yeah, there was 8 of them.
8
There's
of
3
them.
of them dead, Aidan. Gloria's dead, Wiley's was the second girl, and Camilla's.
Right.
3 of them dead. Yeah.
And they have obviously kept in touch with you.
Oh yeah, oh God, very much so.
Oh, that's brilliant.
They're all in England, of course.
Right.
They all went to England.
Right.
Once one went, that was the time then, there was nothing here, like, you know what I mean? So they all went to England and did well in England. Like England, I always say, was a great country.
Of course.
Marvellous, yeah.
Of course.
Oh, they all got on in it and they got good jobs, kind of, and
Of
you
course.
know, yeah.
Yeah.
Marvellous.
Your husband Jack, he was employed all of the time here. He didn't
Yeah,
have
he
to go
was.
abroad. Yeah.
He was with the Land Commission for a long
All
time.
right.
And then his blood pressure got very high. And Dr. McEntee said to him, she said, I'd advise you, Jack, to give up the buildings and all that. So he was on the council then. He was on the council then for a while.
So he was working as a tradesman with...
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, he was.
Yeah.
He was very handy as a carpenter, like that.
Really, as a carpenter?
Yeah, yes, he was very handy,
Right.
very handy.
Because
He did the wall up beside you in there.
he did indeed, and I think a great many people wouldn't realise that all that lovely stonework around the green,
That's right.
and when the ponds were there was lovely stonework
Yeah.
internally,
That's right.
and Jack did all of
He
that.
did, he did.
It was very, very, very
Yeah.
well done.
Yes, he was
So
very...
he had many skills.
Oh, he had. He was very handy. Yeah, he was very handy, you know. And he loved his work, like, you know,
Sure.
as interesting what he was doing, like that. Yeah.
And a quiet, inoffensive man
Oh,
as
he
well.
was.
He didn't
Oh,
bother
he
anyone.
was. Very quiet. Very quiet. I should often say that to the children now, grandchildren, like, you know.
Yeah.
I'd say your granddad wouldn't have like that. You know, like, we've one of the lads is a bit wild, Aidan.
But Jack was working pretty much his whole life, and probably to late in life.
Yeah, he was.
Right.
Oh, he was. He was.
What? Sorry, you told me what age he died at.
He was, what did I tell you, 58.
Very young. Very,
58,
very
yeah,
young.
he was a young man,
Yeah.
58. And you know, he was a very heavy smoker. And I
But
think-
everyone was then.
Yeah,
or
that's
most people
right,
were.
that's right. And there was nothing about smoking
There
in
wasn't.
them years.
Nobody
you know.
knew.
Nobody knew anything, you know.
Did you ever smoke yourself?
I did, well, for a very short time, mate. Now, I was married. And if it was Jack Lord, we'd say have one after the dinner, you know, you'd be sitting. And he'd say, have one. And I started, really, no, I didn't for long, no, I gave them up, thank God I did.
Of course.
You know, thank God I did.
Did you ever travel yourself? Did you ever leave the country?
No, I never, just England on holidays.
Of course.
Yes. Yeah.
Have you relatives there?
Oh yes, all the Connors are there.
Oh yes,
There.
the
Yeah,
Connors,
all
yeah.
the Connors are there. Then I was in Spain a couple of times,
Oh,
just
good.
on holidays.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah,
Great.
on holidays.
Great.
You know.
And that was after Jack, was it?
Yeah,
After
that's
Jack?
right.
Okay.
That's
And
right.
during his time, did you get to travel?
Well, no, only to Dublin and that.
Okay.
Like we go to Dublin a lot, you know, on different days. He was a man that loved home.
Of course.
You know, he didn't like travelling.
He was content
He
with
was very
his home.
contented. Very contented. Yeah, he was. Very contented.
The village in the 50s, and you probably remember the church being redone.
Yes,
and
I do.
all of that.
I do.
Have you any particular memories, not just of that, but that period, that early period when you got married?
Yeah, well, the village was a lovely place then. It was lovely. And everybody knew everybody.
Of course.
You know, it was very, the village was lovely and lovely people.
So you remember Shaw's, of course?
I do, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. I worked in Shaw's, Aidan.
Oh, is that
Oh, I did. I worked in Shaw's for a long time.
And that
in
was
the
when you were
kitchen.
married, yeah.
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 Oh, I did. I did.
And again, housework, was it?
The housework.
Okay.
Housework, yeah, cooking and all that
Ah.
kind of thing, you know. I remember all the shows, Jim and Trixie and them all the rest of them all.
course.
Yeah, and your own relations, Aidan, Sheila and
Kathleen or
and
Cos.
Pussy. Pussy, yeah. I
Yeah.
remember all that. I remember your father so well, all
Do
the
you?
rest of them.
Right.
Because he told us of some yard to tell me, you know, I remember him well.
And you probably knew him even longer than I knew him.
Yes,
so,
yes,
Yeah.
of course I did. And he'd hear a good yarn and he'd always, if he'd come from the doctors now with that, he'd always stop to talk to me and tell me about the yarn. Ah, God, he was a lovely man, Sonny. Lovely man. Died kind of young too, didn't
He was 60, yeah.
Yeah, he did. He was only 60. Yeah.
Um,
Around to 1970, wasn't it, Aidan?
Exactly right, yeah,
Yeah.
1970, yeah.
Yeah, I remember him so well. And your mother lived a good bit longer, didn't she?
Yeah, 2000 she.
That's
yeah,
right.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah.
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 She used to come to Trim when I was going in St. Joseph.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
And then from Shaw's, then you had Fieldses, of course, and
That's
you
right.
would have known Tom.
Jesus.
Yeah,
And
Tom would have been of an age.
Tom was a good age, shouldn't he? Died, he was.
Yeah, he'd be of a similar age to you.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And Delia, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. They had a big family too.
Sure.
Big family,
Yeah.
7 or 8. And then there was an insurance man. What was he was the people the other side of Fieldses. But I can't think of their names now. He was an insurance man, and his father, I think, was an Irish teacher.
All right. Oh, Higgins's, was it?
Higgins is right.
Okay.
Yeah, Higgins is
And
right.
you knew them?
Yeah, I did.
I think they may have been both teachers.
Yeah, that's
oh,
right.
okay.
They were. Yes, I knew them well. They were
Right.
nice people.
And in the house after that, then, after Higgins's, who was in that, do you recall?
Who was it? I think there was different people in it from time to time.
Right,
I just remember now.
sure. And then you had Master Gogarty, wasn't
That's right. Well, he was dead before I came here, Aidan.
Oh, really?
Oh, he was, and the wife.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think so. Well, no, it was the wife was dead. I remember him now when I think of it.
Oh.
He used to go around shopping, and he used to have a lovely little case. Instead of a bag, he had a case,
Okay.
you know, for putting the groceries into. Yes, I remember him now that I think of it.
I think he taught in the local.
Oh, he
Italian,
did.
Yeah.
Oh, and so did his wife.
I see. Okay.
His wife was a teacher as well.
Right.
Now the Connors went it. They taught some of the Connors.
Right.
The Gogartys, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they did. They had one daughter, you know, and she died very sudden.
Oh dear.
Yeah, died very sudden. No one was her name.
As a child.
It
is
was very sad.
Right.
She was about 16 or 17.
Oh, wow, really?
About 15 or 16. Yeah, she was playing the piano and she got this terrible pain as she was playing the piano, and it was appendix, and the appendix burst. Oh, it was very sad. Oh, they were heartbroken. was the only one they had. Yeah, that was very sad.
Right.
Very sad. Very sad it was. And they were a lovely couple, like the mother and father. Yeah.
The house beside that, it was called the dispensary, wasn't
That's
it?
right, there was an old dispensary there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you mentioned Dr. Riley, did you?
Dr. Wright. There was a Dr. Corby there first.
Okay.
When
And
I-
is that where they actually, they
That's-
didn't live there, did they?
No, they didn't live there.
But they
No,
practiced
But
there?
they practiced. I think Dr. Corby, now that I think of it, Aidan, lived in one of them big houses beside Higgins's.
Right.
Yes,
in
I think
the,
so.
in the middle house.
Yeah,
perhaps. Okay.
I think so.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
I think so. But,
So that was a sort of a surgery
so
there.
it was.
Okay.
It was. It was.
And there's another little house then beside that again.
Yeah, I think there was. Now what?
That's all
I
changed,
think
of course.
so, yeah.
Yeah.
It seems so long ago, like, you know.
Yeah.
But the adventure was
I
there.
think it was
for-
Graham's, what was it?
Graham's, that's right.
Okay.
Graham's, that's right. Now I forgot about that.
Okay.
Yeah. And then there was Christie's in them other two houses further up.
Sure.
Yeah.
Burns first, I think,
Burton's.
and then Bruton's.
There was two,
right?
there was a cottage, two cottages there, Burton's and Bruton's. And then before Burton's, Aidan, there was an insurance man and his name was Miley. And he was married to Nanny Ash. He
Oh.
often had to see Ash stuff from the farm.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, well, his wife was an Ash.
And sorry, did he live then where Burns later lived?
Yes,
Oh, I
yes,
see.
I
Okay.
think so.
Right.
Yes, I think so.
Right.
Yeah. And then I think he was moved down the country somewhere. He was an insurance man.
Right.
Yeah.
And you would have known Jack Bruton, of course.
Oh,
and did-
well.
And Greta,
And
his
poor
wife.
Greta, yes, I did know them well.
Yeah. His wife died very young, didn't she?
Very young.
Yeah.
Very young. She died very young. I think it was on the birth. I think it was on the birth of a baby she died.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. Ah, yeah. And Jack had a sad life too. Like, it was a good few of them in it. you
Indeed.
know.
yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Was.
And the Miss Christies then?
And the Miss Christies then, they were dressmakers.
Hmm.
Yeah, dressmakers. And then Mick Brahan lived along there somewhere.
I think he may have had a room with Christies.
Yes, I
Yeah.
think now, I
Hmm.
think now that you don't say that, he did. He
Mary
did.
Kelly, would you have known her at all?
Barely now, eh?
Okay.
She owned the shop at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I think she died soon after I come and
All
somewhere
right.
else.
Okay.
Yeah, she did.
Right. And of course, Miss Gogarty and the Gogartys you would have known well.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yes, I did. Ned, wasn't that Ned?
Ned
was
is
the
right.
father? Yeah. Very nice.
Was it Bridget and Janie Dowd?
Bridget and Jane,
Yeah.
yeah, I think so. Dowds, wasn't they?
Dowds, yeah.
Dowd.
Hmm.
They came from on over where did it? Oh God. They came from up there as you come down from the Bullring there. They think they lived along there, I think.
I'm sure.
More or less, into the bog, more or less, they lived, you know, and there.
I think that they originally they were connected. The Dowds were related to the O'Higginses that lived in. It's called the Rawoor.
Oh, that's
Where there was a
right.
very famous O'Higgins.
Yes, it was.
Ambrosia O'Higgins.
That's right.
Yeah.
And did they live over there, Aidan?
Well, they did, but we're talking about the 1700s then. But I think
Yeah.
then the Dowds were in the Mill Road as well.
That's right.
So yeah. And,
Yes, that's right.
and then the Gogartys. Pat Gogarty, I think, lived in the Moy,
He
didn't
lived in the Moy.
Okay, so
Yes,
the
he was.
two
His
families.
wife was a Sheridan
Right,
from Culmullen.
right,
Yeah.
right.
You wouldn't have remembered Andy Sheridan, did you?
I should do, but I remember the name very well, and he had a tragic,
He had.
yeah,
He had.
tragic death. Yeah.
Andy, a lovely fellow he was, Andy.
Right.
Yeah, very nice. He died. He did a car accident. Yeah,
So I believe.
he did. Very sad.
Miss Gogarty, you would have known very well.
Oh, did, of course. So she was in the post office for a long time, wasn't she?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, she was. She was, she was a very nice person, wasn't she?
Tremendous.
Yeah, a very nice
Tremendous.
person, yeah, she was.
Yeah.
She was. And kind of young too, didn't she, Aidan? She wasn't that old, I think.
I think she was 85.
Oh, was she?
Mm.
Oh, right, oh, right. I think she was that. Right.
Across the road then, Barnard's.
Barnett, yeah. I remember Tom Barnett and the wife.
Right.
She was in a wheelchair for a good while, wasn't she? She was in a wheelchair.
She got a stroke, I
Yeah,
think.
she
and,
did.
Yeah.
She did.
She was able to manage to hobble across the road.
That's right.
She would spend a bit of time in the post office.
Yeah, that's right.
But a lovely person.
A
I'm sure
lovely
you remember.
woman. She was a lovely woman. Yeah, very nice. And then, wasn't he a brother to Mrs. Fitzsimons?
That's right.
Yeah. They
Harty.
lived in one of them houses up along.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, Harry.
Harriet or Harty, I think.
Harty used to call her, yeah, Harty. Big woman she was.
Yes.
I remember her daughters, Olive and Harry and a son.
Olive, I think, died
She died young.
tragically or
Yes, she
something
did.
as well.
She did, she did. Harry then went to England and I think she died in England.
Do you remember
I do.
Harriet? You
Yes,
do?
I do.
Okay.
Lovely girl
I think
she
she
was.
was about 6'1" or something.
Yes, she was very fine woman, yeah. Oh, very fine, good looking woman. And then had one brother, Freddie.
Yes.
He went to Dublin, lived in Dublin, married somebody in Dublin, yeah.
Do you remember Harty's husband?
Yes, I do.
Barney, was it?
Barney, yeah, I do. I do now that you think of it. God, it seems so long ago, isn't it? You know, I do, I remember him. Yeah, nice man he was. I think he worked on the council, I think, now that I think of it.
I'm not sure.
I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
And the very top of the village then, would you remember Hannah's, for example?
Hannah's, I do.
Okay.
Yes, I remember the Hannah's. They had 2 or 3 sons, hadn't they? The 3 sons.
I'm sure you're right.
I think they all went to America and Canada.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think there's 2 of them dead now, I don't know.
I think Donny was
Tony,
one who died quite recently, a couple of years ago.
That's right, he
and
did.
he was in Oregon at the time. He lived in Oregon in America.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know much about the family.
No.
Except what people like you would tell me.
That's right, that's right. Yes, he died in America, yeah. And the other 2. And then I think, was there a family from Donegal then, Liz?
In that house, is
Yes,
it?
I think so.
Well, Carthy's.
Was it Carty's?
But I don't know.
I think it was Carty's now that you
I
say
don't know
it.
anything about them.
And I think they were from Donegal.
You could be right.
Yes, I think so.
Right.
I think they were. Yeah, I think they were. And then I think Donald was one.
Sure.
Yeah.
And you remember Christy, of course.
Of course you do, indeed, I do well, yeah. Died sudden too, didn't he?
Indeed,
Quite sudden,
absolutely.
he did.
And quite young as well.
Ah, yeah, he was a young man. Young man.
You'd remember McLaughlin's, of course.
Of course I do, yeah.
Pat.
Oh, Johnny.
Yeah.
And Johnny, yeah.
Yeah.
Johnny.
And
Pat.
Pat, the
Pat
postman.
was a postman for a while.
Mm.
Yeah. And
There was a smithy there. There was a blacksmith's shop at the back.
yeah, that's right.
What would it be? Pat's father?
I'd say so. It was for some of them, some relation anyway. Yeah, I think it was his father, like, you know. And his wife was an Elson.
Yes, that's
She
right.
was one of the Nelsons.
That's right.
Yeah. They're all dead too. Dead, yeah.
And as you moved down, then the cottages. Do you remember any more of them?
Well, Fannon's, of course, are still there. Like,
Yeah.
and,
Butterfields.
Butterfields, yes, we heard of Butterfields. I remember him and his wife May.
Yeah.
I remember them too. Yeah.
And May Allen.
And May Allen. Yeah. I remember Mrs. Allen too.
May Butterfield's mother was there, wasn't she? In one of
Yes,
them?
she was. That's right, Mrs. Bourne. Bourne.
You remember her?
Yeah.
Hmm.
I was just saying that, Aidan. You wouldn't know anyone now in it.
No.
No. I was just speaking, I was getting my feet done, I was just speaking to one of the people down from the village there, and she said the same. She doesn't know anybody enough. Through the years you don't know them, you know. There was a time you knew everybody.
Absolutely, and it's not that long ago.
That's right.
Not that long ago.
That's right. That's right.
I suppose times are quicker now,
Oh,
and
yeah,
people are moving about more than they used.
they are.
And you mentioned Harty or Harriet Fitzsimons, and then do you remember the house then after that?
Was that Butterfield?
Well, Tully's, I think. Do you remember?
Tully's,
Mrs.
yes,
Tully?
I remember Miss Tully.
Okay.
Yes,
Do you
I
remember
remember.
her husband?
No, he was dead before I
right.
came here.
He was,
yeah, he was a guard.
He was a guard.
Yeah. No, I never saw him now. He
And
was dead.
there was a biggish family. There was a number of
Yeah, they had.
them as well.
Yeah, they had. The only one I remember well was Desi. I'd say he's still alive.
Oh, he is indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a guard too.
That's right.
Wicklow.
I think he lives in Newtown, Mount Kennedy.
That's right,
yeah.
in Wicklow.
Mm.
Yeah. And of course, Paddy, he used to work in Grange. He did a very good job in Grange.
Right.
He was married to a girl from Trim, McGee was her name. He's that kind of young too.
He did indeed.
Yeah, very young. And then the sister was married to McGee too in Trim.
You're right.
Yeah. She died kind of young. So.
Maureen, yeah.
Maureen, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you have remembered them now?
I remember Maureen indeed, yes.
Yeah.
And of course Desi.
And Jessie, of
yeah,
course, you won't. You won't.
But the others, Paddy and there was a Brendan as well.
Brendan, that's right.
I wouldn't have
He
known.
went to America, I think. He went to
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, he did.
And there may have been another one in Australia, but I'm not sure.
Would it be Michael? I think it was a Michael.
Okay.
I think so.
Right.
Yeah, I think so. And then there was Morgan's there too, waiting.
Okay, tell me about that because I didn't.
He was a guard.
Okay.
And he came.
And did he work in Summerhill as a guard?
Yes, he did.
Oh, right. Okay.
He came from Roscommon.
Right.
Yeah, and his wife I think was from Donegal.
Right.
Yeah. And that's his son Hayden. He worked in with. Do you remember Willie Lynch's shop as well?
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
Well, Hayden worked there for a long time, fine big fella he was. And then there was a couple of them think went to America too.
I see.
Yeah, they did.
Right.
She was only from Donegal, fine big woman she was.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
And Duffy's after that, or was there another house there?
There was Mick Duffy's there too,
Okay.
and Paddy, and Pat.
And would you have known them?
I did.
Okay.
So Mick Duffy was a postman when I was young,
Oh,
and he used to bring the post down to Bartram and all around
oh right.
there.
So even in your youth, you
Yes.
before you came to live
That's
here
right.
at all.
Oh yes, I was young then, very young then.
And sorry, back in those times when you lived in Galtram, would you have any connection with Summerhill? Would you have come to?
Well, yes, not that often.
No.
Not that often, like. If you had to come to the doctor, of course, you'd have to
So
go
that
to
would be
Summerhill.
your doctor, would it?
That's
in
right.
Summerhill.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's right.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So you would have had some contact.
Oh,
with
yes.
Summerhill, and so would your parents.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
That's right.
It's only 3.5 miles or so
Yeah, that's
away.
all.
Yeah.
That's all. Right near. Yeah.
So the Duffys then you
The
would have-
Duffys, I knew the Duffys well.
You would have known.
In fact, he got a land commission house in Ballycorta.
Oh,
He had a land commission house there. And Mick, of course, was there all his life, house, you know. Yeah, he was a postman now when I was young. He used to live as a post all around Galtram and
all right.
up there, yeah.
Right.
On a bicycle, of course.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah. There was no cars then.
Yeah.
Yeah. At Christmas, we used to remember him at Christmas because people would be treating him, giving him a drop of whiskey. You wouldn't see him for all hours.
You wouldn't be riding the bike in the end.
Not at all. They were funny times.
So there were 3 houses there. Duffy's was the first, and then there was a middle house. Oh.
Nelson's.
Nelson's are in the end,
And
right?
the end house, yeah,
Yeah.
they were in the end house. And then Duffy's. Who was in the other one? Who was in the other one? I can't remember.
I'm afraid I can't help you either.
No.
And Nelson's, that was a big family. You would
It
have
was, yeah.
known several
Yeah.
of them.
Tom, he got a cottage up in Spring Valley.
Right.
That's where he lived.
Right.
And John never married. He used to help out Paddy Bacon a lot with the car and everything. You know, he used to be pregnant a lot.
John.
Yeah, John.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there were more
There were
lads.
sisters then, Aggie and Mr. McLaughlin was an Nelson. You know, Pat McLaughlin's wife
Sure.
was an Nelson.
And
Yeah.
then there was an Eileen, was it? Eileen Farrell, then she became from.
Well, Eileen Farrell's mother was a Nelson.
Yeah.
That's right, T.T. Nelson. And she married Farrell from Rathmalayan.
Teasy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she had 2 girls.
Okay.
Eileen and what was the other girl? I can't remember. But I remember, should remember her.
Sure. Would you have known the parents, the Nelsons,
Oh,
the
I
parents?
Oh, I knew her well. You were
Old,
well.
old, if you like, old Mrs. Nelson, you would have known.
That too.
Oh,
I
right.
remember her well.
Okay.
Yeah. She was a very nice woman, very kind of lady-like woman. Yeah.
That's what I heard.
Yeah. Nice woman.
And the husband, would you have known him?
I don't never remember the husband.
He may have died young.
No, I think he must have died young. No, I never remember him.
Right.
No. But when you think of it, like, isn't there an awful lot of people have died in somewhere else, you know?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
An awful lot of people you don't know in Summerhill now. You don't know anybody.
No.
You know, an awful lot of strangers, isn't
Absolutely.
there?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With all the new houses, you see down
Indeed.
there.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And is there any period, any excitement? You remember the carnivals, for example?
Oh, I do. I do.
I'm sure you went to the carnival.
Yes, I
Yeah.
did.
Mm.
I did. I wouldn't have been long married like at the time,
Oh.
like, you know.
Oh.
Oh, they were great years, like,
Right.
you know. Great years.
And they were in connection with the restoration of the church?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
That's right. And Ned Shannon was over at that time too. We did not do with the carnivals.
Okay.
And Thomas Plunkett, you know, there was Plunkett up in this road.
Yeah, okay.
And they had a lot to do with the carnivals.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, they were great years, like, great years. People they were very different them years, like, you know. There was no, what would you call it now? Everybody was very kind of simple going, you know what I mean? There was no harm done anywhere, like, and, you know. Nowadays, it's a change, hasn't it? You know.
Even the field where the carnival was is built up now.
That's right, it's built up. It's built up. Yeah, with all the new houses there. Yeah. Yeah, that's all the new houses along the road. Yeah.
You would remember the changes in the church then when the walls were taken down and all
Yes,
of that.
I do. I remember that. Remember that.
Jack wasn't involved in any way, was he?
No, he wasn't involved in them, no. Like it was built a long time ago, and then I think there was a lot to be done with it, you know, over the years, like, kind of, you know,
Sure.
over the years. And you remember the priest, Father Albertson.
Ah, yes, of
Oh,
course.
the priest we
Of
had
course.
too, yeah.
Father Moore before that, yeah.
Father Moore,
Okay.
yeah, Father Moore.
What
He
memory
was
have
in
you?
Manalfi as well, Aidan.
Oh, right,
Yeah,
okay.
he was.
Okay.
When I was going to school now, he was the parish priest in Manalfi.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you have any memories of him?
I do. Oh, I do.
What sort of a man was he?
Well, he could be very contrary, like, yeah. I suppose you heard from
I did.
Oh, he could be, but it was all right, like, you know what I mean? He was nice in his own way, like, but he could be very contrary. He had a nephew, doctor in Dunboyne, you know, Dr. Finn,
Ah,
and he was very like him too,
right.
very like him.
Right.
He could be very contrary, like, you
Right.
know. But he was all right, like, you know.
You mentioned Plunkett's.
Yeah,
I know very
Thomas
little about Plunkett's. Tell me.
Thomas Plunkett, they lived up, there's a vet lives in it now, in
Yes.
that house.
Okay.
And there were two brothers, John and Tom.
Right.
Yeah, they lived there for years.
Right. And
Yeah.
presumably the family went back some years even before that.
Yes, I'd say they did.
Okay.
Yes, I'd say they did. That's all I knew was the two brothers, Tom and
Okay.
John. Yeah.
So between here really and the Bullring, which is a mile long, there were only 2 or 3 houses.
Oh, that's all.
Okay.
That's all. That's all. But Paddy Pegler built his house like there, you know, that's, you know, and no, there wasn't many houses at all. No, there wasn't.
On
Yeah.
the Dangan Road, then there were.
The Taggle Road, there wasn't many either.
Okay.
No.
You mentioned Barnard's and Tom and Harriet.
Yeah.
But there was another brother down near Dangan Bridge there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there was. That's right. That's right. Lived in an old house down there.
That's right.
That's right.
That was George.
George. Was it George? I
George.
couldn't think of his name. Yeah, it was George. Yes, I remember him.
Mm.
I remember him. Lived in an